Tuesday. Okay, so you took notes on day 4, and day 4 is we have a test. It's called the first derivative test, and we use it to find the local extrema. Okay, so remember, locals in your neighborhood, right? And we're just saying, give us our hills and valleys, basically, or our cusps and corners. That's what it's saying. And so as we look at this, and this animation you can play with in Blackboard, I've got it in there. But if we look at this animation, oh, it's right. And you know, we see that this is definitely a local max here. We know that that tangent line, if I could just get it right at the tippy top, right, the tangent line would be horizontal. It'd be 0. So we know when we're talking about maximums, we start out with a tangent line that has positive slope. And then as we go over that maximum, it goes to 0, and then the slope goes to negative. Okay, so we look for that transition from positive to negative in that derivative number line that we do, which is why that number line is so very important. It's just a super organizer. Okay, and then likewise for a minimum, or similarly, I should say not likewise, but similarly, for a minimum, as we go through that trough, that valley, where our slopes are going from negative to positive. Okay, and if I could get right at that low point of that valley, I could get that horizontal line. Okay, and then we have situations here, like right here, where if you notice before it's negative, and then it goes to 0, and after it's negative, we don't have a sign change. That can't be an extrema. My derivative doesn't change sign at all. It was negative, then it went 0, and then it went negative again. So those are indications of plateaus. Those aren't extrema at all. This is not a local min or a local max. This is just a local flat spot. So 0 derivative, but not a hill or a valley. Okay. And so just then a note about those sign charts. Okay, they are your organizational tool, but they're super important. You know, okay, it's what you generate your justification from. And then you have to say things like the derivative changes from negative to positive. Those are clear, complete justifications. Not it, certainly not f of x, right? Because that wouldn't even be the derivative. You have to identify it as the derivative. So f prime of x, if that's the variable they use, or the derivative of f, if you want to really write it out. Okay, free response questions will ask for justification, which must include the language of the first derivative test. Okay, and that's what I was kind of just saying. The behavior of the first derivative determines the location of extrema, which can be mins or maxes. Okay, or neither. That's when we don't get the sign switch. So any questions there? Okay, so then a summary. How can I use the first derivative test to identify and justify the locations for minima and maxima? You follow that first derivative test procedure. So that would be something, you know, I'm asking you always to do a review sheet at the end of the unit. You might want to start your review sheet sooner than later. This is a long unit. And you know, we've got 3 days worth of stuff that's, you know, certainly is good to put on, but this would be definitely something you might want to have on your review sheet. We are going to do topic questions in day 4. I do have, I know we talked last week about having a worksheet, so I did make a worksheet so that you can work into in the topic questions. And this worksheet that I'm handing out will cover today and tomorrow. Okay, so they're welcome. And I'll have them here for people tomorrow too as they come in. I also put that in WebEx if you want to print it out. That's there as well. So what I'm really looking in the College Board to make sure people are in there. Right now we're getting anywhere from about 50 to 75% participation in those topic questions. These are kind of the thing that makes it all gel. So I would like to see everybody in there today. And then when you get done with those topic questions, you can move on to the homework. Do we have any questions? Alrighty. If people in the classroom just take a quick look over to the calculus board, I added a bunch of review summary cards on extrema, mean value theorem, extreme value theorem, all those things. You'll see those when you get in the classroom tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to leave the chat open. Oopsies, let me freeze that first. Okay, I'm going to leave the chat open, folks. So if you have questions, you can holler out at me with the questions you have. I'm just going to stop the recording so that